Long time no see, man. If you aren't aware, I missed the May update. Very recently, I bought a house. In fact, I bought it mid-May, so I was not able to make a video for the month. I don't have a lot of access to my computer currently, just because we are in the middle of moving and renovating. The majority of my time right now is not invested in TF2 training. That said, I don't want to not make updates to the series. I wanted to make the May video, but any attempt I made was like a very abridged version of what I would like it to be. And instead of trying to make a rushed out video, I decided to just add May into the June video. So this will be 2-in-1 about what we missed in May and what we accomplished in June. I have not had a ton of time to trade and actively seek out deals. I'll also add, we are doing a giveaway once we hit 1,000 subs. We are currently 75 away from that milestone. The giveaway is most likely going to be keys or something of similar value. However, I was going to put it up to a poll. At this point, I'll probably launch the poll once this video goes live, and once we hit 1,000 subs, we will select a winner. With that out of the way, let's go over what hats we're going into the month with. We have a Rare Shine Crooks Cap, a Disco Beatdown Detective Noir, a Cuban Smoke Vaudeville Visor, a Tesla Coiled Powdered Practitioner, a Miami Nights Thirst Blood, a Disco Beatdown Nightcap, 2 Bone Zone LOL Fedoras, a Circling Peace Sign Mean Captain, a Crystal Crown Alpha Steam, a Halcyon Halo Polar Charger, a Playful Aurora Hot Spaniel, a Halcyon Halo Crimbo Cap, 2 Halcyon Halo Dapper Noels, 4 Shining Bouquet Crimbo Caps, a Halcyon Halo Hot Spaniel, a Ghost of Christmas Time Dapper Noel, a Crystal Crown Hot Spaniel, a Frisky Morning Hot Spaniel, a Ghost of Christmas Time Polar Charger, a Nightmarish Storm Thunderdome, a Disco Beatdown Hot Spaniel, a Kilowatt Crimbo Cap, an Uber Blaze Fleet Commander, a Bone Zone Head Hedge, 2 Searing Stove Tribal Gents, a Searing Stove Manhattan Protect, a Spectral Fire Fleet Commander, a Frosty Flavors Have to Kill For, 3 Searing Stove Fleet Commanders, a Terawatt Fleet Commander, a Mountain Halo Firestalker, a Sizzling Caribou Companion, a Haunted Ghost Crimbo Cap, a Shining Bouquet Hot Spaniel, an Uber Blaze Witch Doctor, and a Searing Stove Strikeout. Hey, sorry about the interruption. This is Editor Chad here. While recapping what we were coming into the month with, I noticed we missed 2 unusuals, a Shrieking Shades Berlin Brain Bowl and an Orbiting Fire Crimbo Cap. I also missed the first sale of May, which ended up being a Shining Bouquet Hot Spaniel. We picked it up on April 30th for 14 keys and 4.44 ref. And we sold it May 2nd for 20 keys, getting us a profit of 5 keys and 70.55 ref, or a profit margin of 38.88%. I'll note that I pick up a second one right here after this, and I may say I don't know stats on it. That is incorrect. I bought a second one. We also picked up a Miami Nights Crimbo Cap for 12 keys and 50.66 ref. Crimbo Caps have been doing alright with Gen 3 effects. Miami Nights is a sought-after effect for a certain fan base, so picking this up for basically 13 keys, we could easily profit on this hat. To start off in May, we picked up a Shining Bouquet Hot Spaniel for 15 keys on the 5th. I believe these had recent sales on Marketplace, and they seemed profitable. I actually picked this up from a SP Bacon Academy member who was looking to liquidate it. I believe this could be very profitable for us. We then sold a Cloud9 Nightcap for 24 keys. We picked it up for 17 keys and 42.88 ref. We originally picked that up on April 24th, so that took us 11 days to sell. We sold it for 24 keys, so a profit of 6 keys and 32.11 ref, or a profit margin of 36.59%. I'm a big fan of the nightcaps. They definitely come in clutch for me. Next, we sold a Searing Stove Nightcap. We bought that for 23 keys, and we sold it for 31 keys. We sold that on May 7th, and we originally bought that on April 19th, so that took us 18 days to sell for a 34.78% profit margin. Again, kind of surprised with how fast this one sold. Another gut feeling buy of Searing Stove has been a very profitable effect, and nightcaps have sold well for me in the past, so this one definitely performed for us. Last month, we picked up a bulk amount of Searing Stove Fleet Commanders for around 30 keys. Well, our first one sold on May 9th for 48 keys, so an 18 key profit, or a 60% profit margin, only taking us 13 days to sell. These hats were selling constantly on Marketplace, and the market dried out there, so I ended up picking up every available one off of Backpack and listing them there for a lot higher than what they had been selling for, and it worked out for us. On May 10th, we picked up a Melting Mohawk Brand Loyalist for 50 keys. These had recent sales on Marketplace, seemed to be pretty profitable. We had a few keys to burn at this point, so I was looking for something to spend it on. So hopefully this one sells for us. The Shining Bouquet Hot Spaniel we previously picked up this month sold for 22 keys, giving us a 7-key profit or a 46.66% profit margin, only taking 10 days to sell. Kind of feel bad that I bought this off of an Academy member. Sometimes it really all depends on where you're trying to sell your hats at. That could definitely help get a sale. Next, we picked up a Crystal Crown Hot Spaniel for 21 keys and 55.44 ref on May 13th. These have kind of been underperforming on Marketplace, Halcyon Halo as well. In fact, I believe all Crystal Crown and Halcyon Halo hats have kind of been underperforming lately. However, Crystal Crown Hot Spaniels have all sold out on Marketplace. That gave me hope that this is probably profitable, so we picked it up. Next, we picked up an Darkblazed Surgeon General on the 13th. For 36 keys and 65 ref. Recent sales on Marketplace indicate that this could probably get a good margin, probably around 47 keys, so we're going to hope for that. Next, we bought and sold a Miami Nights Checkered Past. Picked it up on May 13th for 32 keys, and we managed to sell it in just 4 days for 47 keys, getting us a 15-key profit or 46.87% profit margin. I believe we picked this off of the same Academy member that was trying to sell the Shining Bouquet Hot Spaniel. Again, it really comes down to what market you're attempting to sell on. Sometimes you can just get more eyes on a different market. On the 29th, we sold our Frisky Morning Hot Spaniel. We picked it up for 15 keys and 63.77 ref, and we sold it for 17 keys, netting us a profit of 1 key and 6.33 ref, or a profit margin of 6.85%. Taking us 72 days to sale. This definitely wasn't the best hat we had, but at least we didn't lose on it. Sometimes you gotta take the small victories. The next hat to sell was a Searing Stove Strikeout that we picked up on April 30th for 10 keys and 16 ref. We sold it May 29th for 16 keys, getting us a profit of 5 keys and 53 ref, or a profit margin of 56.45%. I feel like this one was risky, as I've seen a lot of these turn up on Backpack for around 10 to 11 keys. However, Marketplace was clear, and we gambled again on another Searing Stove low-class hat, and it paid off. We then picked up a Disco Beatdown 1000-yard stare for 53 keys and 24.66 ref on the 29th. A long time ago, we sold a Searing Plasma 1000-yard stare. At the time, I thought it took us a long time to sell, but realistically, it took 3 weeks. Looking back on that, that is a very fast sale, so I decided to pick up a more desired effect and see if we could turn a profit. We then had a crazy sale, not profit-wise, but just how it turned out for us. We managed to sell our Halcyon Halo Polar Charger that we picked up way back in February 19th. We traded 4 hats that had started to crash in their market, or a price of 124 keys for this hat, and we managed to sell it on the 30th of May for 142 keys, getting us a profit of 18 keys, or a profit margin of 14.51%. This took 109 days to sell, and while this isn't a very impressive profit margin or key return or anything like that, the fact that we were able to take 4 hats that their markets crashed. I remember 2 of these hats ended up dropping like 10 keys from what I paid for to what they were now getting sold for. So this realistically should have been a loss. The fact that we were able to turn a decent profit on it, crazy. Another thing to add is that this effect and hat combo didn't have any sales to go off of. This was just Halcyon Halo was doing great at the time, and Polar Charger is a good-looking soldier hat. No sales to go off of. We just gambled on it. Next, we sold a Darkblazed Witch Doctor. We picked it up for 12 keys and 16.66 ref, and we sold it for 19 keys, getting us a profit of 6 keys and 53.33 ref, or a profit margin of 55.27%. This took us 30 days to sell. Again, I'm surprised that the Witch Doctor is not only selling, but selling pretty fast and for a pretty good profit margin. This hat is realistically pretty ugly, and yet it keeps doing way better than what I'm expecting it to. I'm not complaining, it's just very strange. With that comes the end of May, a very short month for us, not able to pick up a lot of hats, and not able to sell a lot either. We will now be branching into June, which hopefully will perform better for us. Starting with the Darkblazed Surgeon General, we bought that on May 13th for 36 keys and 65 ref. We were able to sell it on June 1st for 47 keys, for a profit of 10 keys and 5 ref, or a profit margin of 27.62%, taking us 18 days to sell. Love to see it. Nothing more to add to that. Our next sale was a Playful Aurora Hot Spaniel. We originally picked it up for 32 keys, and we managed to sell it for 37 keys on June 4th, getting us a 5-key profit, or a profit margin of 15.62%. This took us 103 days to sell. These Playful Aurora and Frisky Morning, those effects have also kind of crashed, and this hat was undercut very heavily on Marketplace, and with key prices shooting up to $2 now, I didn't want to try to undercut as well or match the undercuts, so I left it alone for a while, and eventually all the other ones sold out, and mine managed to sell. Sometimes it's worth to be patient. If you can hold on to a hat, sometimes it's best to do that. Speaking of hats that were getting undercut and could possibly be worth holding on to, our Ghost of Christmas Time Dapper Noel sold for 28 keys. We originally bought that back on March 6th for 23 keys and 30.55 ref. We managed to get a 4 key and 49.44 ref profit, or a profit margin of 18.14%, taking just 91 days to sell. These had crashed heavily on just about every market, but for some reason, Marketplace sellers, for the first time ever, decided not to undercut each other and just stand strong on their price for whatever reason. These dropped down to like 17 keys on Backpack, so the fact that we were able to sell this for 28 keys is crazy. We then picked up 4 hats on June 7th. Picked up a Purple Energy Polar Charger for 117 keys. After the Halcyon Halo one sold for a good profit margin, I've decided to test her luck with a tried and true effect of Purple Energy. I think Purple Energy has a huge fan base, and I think the Polar Charger is definitely a great soldier hat. I'm hoping this could get us maybe close to 200 keys, but only time will tell. Next, we picked up a Blizzardy Storm Nightcap for 12 keys and 67.33 ref. Nightcaps have been performing fantastic for me, and Blizzardy Storm is a great budget effect. I don't want to say these are themed, but they definitely look nice together. Hopefully this can net us a good profit. We then picked up a Pumpkin Party Sir Pumpkinton for 25 keys and 13.11 ref. This is definitely themed. In fact, I really love these and the Hollowed Hem when they have Guardian Angel or Pumpkin Party. There are no other sellers on Marketplace as of now, so hopefully I can list this higher than what it's been selling for and net a crazy margin. And then we picked up a Haunted Wick Field Practice for 40 keys and 15.66 ref. Recent sales indicate this can get a decent amount more, so hopefully we can get a sale pretty quickly on this one. On the 15th, we sold our Crystal Crown Hot Spaniel for 28 keys. We originally picked that up for 21 keys and 55.44 ref. This got us a 6 key and 14.55 ref profit, or a profit margin of 28.49%. Crystal Crown has kind of been underperforming, but here it is again trying to win my trust back, and sometimes I'm a sucker for it. We then sold both of our Searing Stove Fleet Commanders within 2 days of each other. We picked both of these up for 31 keys and 58.88 ref, and we sold both for 47 keys. This got us a profit of 15 keys and 11.11 ref, or a profit margin of 47.58%. Again, seeing that a hat is performing very well and capitalizing on the market, sometimes you just have to wait a little bit, but it can definitely pay out for you. We then sold our Disco Beatdown 1000-yard stare. We picked that up for 53 keys and 24.66 ref, and sold it for 74 keys, earned us a profit of 20 keys and 45.33 ref, or a profit margin of 38.68%. This took only 23 days to sell. I'm happy that the 1000-yard stare did perform well for me. Anytime I see one of these with a decent effect, I'm definitely checking to make sure that it is profitable. This has shown me that these hats can definitely be very fast flips. We then sold another Fleet Commander, this time with Spectral Fire. We picked it up for 38 keys and 23.22 ref, and sold it for 47 keys. This got us a profit of 8 keys and 46.77 ref, or a profit margin of 22.59 keys, or a profit margin of 22.59%. This took 73 days to sell. These were not moving for a while. In fact, one of the fellow Academy members had one of these, and he kind of advised me not to buy one of these, but this was kind of a price too low to pass up on, and it definitely paid off for us. We then sold a Miami Nights Thirst Blood for 88 keys. We picked that up all the way back early February for 73 keys and 44.77 ref. This earned us a 19.50% profit margin in just 139 days. This is probably the longest it took to make a hat, especially for profit. I remember buying this because we originally had a Miami Nights El Jefe that we kind of liquidated, but the person who we sold it to ended up selling it for around 88 keys. So when I saw another Scout hat with Miami Nights that kind of higher tier, I decided to buy it. I ended up kind of regretting buying it for that much. I kind of thought we were going to lose on it, but there was no other competition on any other site, so there was no reason to lower our price or to try to quick sell it, and it worked out for us. And then after selling 3 different Searing Stove Fleet Commanders, we picked up 3 more, all of which we picked up on June 28th for 34 keys. We bought these because Marketplace is still empty of these hats, and there's no reason to let these go for so cheap on Backpack if I know they can turn a 10 key profit on Marketplace. We then picked up a Pumpkin Party Hollowed Helm for 23 keys and 18.88 ref. This won't get us a huge profit margin, but at the time of buying this, we have close to 600 keys on hand, so there was no reason to turn down a hat that clearly sells for profit. These sell all the time on Marketplace. It's definitely something to go for. And then we picked up a Searing Stove Hat Out of Hell for 77 keys. Now, this is actually our 200th hat. Very fitting. I'm a huge fan of Searing Stove, and by very fitting, it just kind of ends there. I have high hopes for this hat. Hat Out of Hell have definitely performed very well. On June 30th, we sold our Frosty Flavors Hat to Kill for. We originally picked that up on April 26th for 57 keys, and we sold it for 79 keys, getting us a profit of 22 keys and a profit margin of 38.59%. This took 65 days to sell. This was a hat we gambled on. I know I say that a lot, but we have a ton of keys on hand, and keys in my inventory don't make me profit, so I kind of have to take risks on hats that either don't have a lot of sales or just look visually appeasing with no stats to go off of. This was one of them, and it paid off for us in a very short amount of time, so I'm happy with that. Then we rounded off the month, picking up 2 more Fleet Commanders. We first picked up a Cloud9 Fleet Commander for 28 keys and 26.66 ref. No good stats to go off of, but this is a great effect on a hat that is performing fantastic right now, so I don't see this being a problem. And then we picked up a Disco Beatdown Fleet Commander for 54 keys. A recent price suggestion has this listed around 70 and 80 keys. It was taken down for a silly reason of there being another sale to go off of. If I throw this on Marketplace, hopefully it can sell for a ridiculous amount. But with that comes the end of both May and June. I appreciate you guys waiting patiently for these videos, especially with my feedback only coming in Discord. If you are not already a member of my Discord, I highly advise you to join there. If there's ever a delay in the video, I am most likely mentioning it there and the reason why. So if you were wondering where this video was and why it was so late, the answer will most likely be in my Discord. With that said, please keep in mind that we are still very close to 1,000 subs, and once we hit it, we will definitely be doing that giveaway. And hopefully, I will see you on time in July. Thank you. See you.